Charlie Kirk is a gentleman I referred to in the last video. Apparently, was a right wing advocate. Um, Felt was a very divisive force, um, and found a niche in that uneducated political separatist minded area of being. I never really cared for his business model. His business model was to find teenagers on college campuses and debate and battle them politically. So I'm like, why are you debating and humiliating kids? If you truly are a debater or a craftsman with words, that you'd be speaking to your colleagues. And I do understand, and I don't know the extent of the sincerity that was in this, but it was more so to wake up this generation of quote unquote thinkers, or it kind of seemed like followers, um, and influence them on traditional separatist, um, oppressive ideologies that have been, and white supremacist ideologies that maintain wealth gaps, maintain systems of oppression, maintain systems of inequity. And I think that this is a, to quote Malcolm X, a chicken's coming home to roost type of thing. And again, you have to look that situation up and understand what Brother Malcolm was saying when he said chickens come home to roost. When you are feeding into a bastion of negativity and hate, yes, you want it to go to women. Yes, you want it to go to blacks. Yes, you want this to go to um, illegal immigrants. Yes, you want this to go to all of these different minority groups that historically have been caught in the divisiveness of this country. It's going to bleed into you and who you care about as well. And this is something in history that has happened. And being a historian, my mind is set to look at things broadly, not the individual Charlie Kirk. Unfortunate that what happened to him happened. That's clear. That should be understood. But in looking at the broader society as a historian, I have to point out what I'm not hearing others pointing out. We're in the midst of a political system that this person supported, that is trying to send people out of the country to a country that they're not from, sending people who are not supposed, all of these old historic ideologies of black people in crime and policing instead of protecting, all of these things that are going on with black, poor, immigrants, all of these things were fine in the eyes of broad white America. And when it turns within white America, there's a element of surprise. And there's no, it's like January 6th. There's no black folks to blame this on. There's no DEI to blame this on. There is no no boogeyman to blame this on. There's no immigrants to blame this on because generally, historically, if somebody shoots somebody from 200 yards away, who generally has a history of doing that? I'm just saying, pick a marksman, pick a picture of a marksman in your head. What just not even being racist. Just think about it. Who is generally associated with that? But now there's this big surprise when it was, oh, we're going to send uh, people in America to El Salvador. That was fine. Oh, we're going to send the military into DC and Chicago and LA and all this stuff. That was fine. We're grabbing immigrants and we're pulling them off of their jobs. Illegal immigrants. Illegal. Why are you pulling the people but not pulling the employer? If it's illegal, regardless of political views, he was a human being. We understand that. We're not saying that this should have happened. Actually, I'm not talking about him per se, because he's one person. I'm talking about all of us. And is that the same? You know what? The people who are getting sent to El Salvador, not from El Salvador, not knowing what's going to happen to those people, they're human beings. And they have a wife and they have kids. They sending the military to black areas to address criminality. All of those people who are being addressed violently on a military basis, they have wives, they have kids, they're human beings. Yet we are paying $5.2 million in a wrongful death suit to a person who was killed doing a criminal act on January 6th. That's what I'm saying. We can't, I think it was Luna, we can't select when we're going to humanize somebody and not. I thought you were Richard Jefferson at first. A lot of people tell me that. That's the issue that we have to deal with, is this selective outrage that we're seeing primarily in white America, specifically in Democratic and conservative America. These people are acting like the worst things in this country are black people, homosexuals, and immigrants, because that's what's taking the American opportunity. So it's fight, 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 fight. But when these things happen, January 6th, all of these policing issues, all of these economic issues, people can't afford groceries and all of this stuff. Everybody's acting like they don't see that this is going on in the dominant community. And now everybody, you can be saddened by Charlie Kirk, but everything else that's going on is a climate that creates these outcomes. Selective outrage didn't happen until social media told us what to be mad about. That's not true. That's not true. Selective outrage goes back to Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, before that, but that's just an easy one. That's low hanging fruit. They did not idolize MLK until he was murdered, and it's the group that murdered him that has now idolized him. They did not idolize Brother Malcolm until after he was murdered by the United States government. Same thing with the Black Panther Party. Same thing. I mean, we can go through history. JFK, RFK. No, that's not true. You cannot blame this on social media. Again, we remember this is a history channel. So this is the same thing happening over and over again. These cop-outs of um, blaming social media or blaming Republicans and Democrats. This stuff has been going on since the colonies. This stuff has been going on since Bacon's Rebellion, 1676. And we can just keep going with events, the Revolutionary War, then the Civil War, and then everything subsequent to that. This is not new. This selective outrage is to where the dominant population of the United States acts as though there is no knowledge of the violence, separatism, and usury that creates a climate that none of them care about until it's them that did it. Just like January 6th. There was nobody to blame January 6th on, and that's why it has been wiped from the memory of the United States. Tell me, if that were immigrants that stormed the Capitol, that would not have been a bloodbath. Tell me, if that was Black Lives Matters that did that, that would be a bloodbath. But it's just something that happened and we moved past it. But this issue with Charlie Kirk, as unfortunate as it is, it's not surprising to Black folk. That's what happened to all of our leaders up to 1969. Just one right after another. So to be surprised? No. This is what happens when you have a country that does not value diversity, equity, or inclusion. And he didn't. Because they did not want his opinion included. They did not want the diverse thought he was adding, which I would say dominant thought, but and that led to his demise. Not to say he brought it on himself. But the only thing new in this world is the history that we don't know. And look at how many times, not just how many times that has happened, how many times that's happened all over the world. So again, just look at the media. Look at Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan is just devastating. It's like, oh my God, that's terrible. That's a part of Black people's existence. Hundreds of Black folks were being killed by the police, nonviolent crimes, unarmed, from 2016 well through COVID. That is a part of everyday Black life. And it's generally endorsed because police are doing it. And when that happens within the community, no group to blame. Well, now they're blaming Democrats. But now everybody's shocked. So now what's going to happen? We're sending the military on the Black folks in Chicago. We're sending the military on the Black folks in D.C. We're sending ICE on the Latino people on the West. What are we going to do about this East Coast, West Coast rap, which is basically what the Republicans and Democrats are doing? And it end up in the death, Tupac and Biggie. Okay, now what are you going to do within that group? They're not going to do anything. The same reason why they didn't do anything about January 6th. January 6th, everybody got pardoned. The one person that got killed got money. Not the police that got scared to death, not the police that got hurt, not the police that got beaten. None of them is going to recover anything from 9/11, but the criminal, the person who was breaking the law under the threat of force with a gun drawn on him, that's the person that is getting reparations. And nobody's talking about that repair. Black folks have been talking about reparations since 1865. Native Americans have been talking about reparations since before that. But this person's family is getting repaired. Everything's cool. So it's not that white America cannot see when something violent happens that is wrong. They just don't see it until it's them. They don't see it until it's somebody they care about. So why is it black people have to be the conscience to America to explain what racism is, why these disparities here, what the wealth gap problem is? We already know all of this is in the Kerner report under LBJ in 1969. This is not new news of how the systems in this country lead toward the destruction of particular people. But when you play in that fire, the participants get burned too. And that's what happened in this case with Mr. Kirk. But it's not, I think Mr. Kirk knew, okay, this is what I'm in, because apparently he was good at it. These are the things that are going on around me, and I got to be careful. I'm talking about us, Americans. We, I, I don't like the way that we play dumb. If you can understand what happened to Charlie Kirk is wrong, you can understand what happened to Trayvon Martin was wrong. If you see what happened to Charlie Kirk is wrong, you can see what happened to George Floyd was wrong. Just like somebody said, well, despite his particular views and all of that, he was a human being and a wife. Yeah, so did George Floyd. And the majority of white America resisted the George Floyd campaign because he was a drug addict or he had done something somewhere at some point. But when it's Charlie Kirk, oh, he's a human being. Yes, we all are human beings. All those people that are being grabbed up by ICE, they're human beings. All those people that they're sending the military going to Chicago, they're human beings. The people that put together the Black Smithsonian, they're human beings. We're all human beings. But why is it we can only recognize that when it's Charlie Kirk? And that's just talking about things that are going on right now. So, again, I want to remind you, don't get caught on Charlie Kirk. He is only one person. Just like I tell everybody, don't get caught on Trump. Yes, it's very bad. But here we go. Being a drug addict affects sympathy. Why? Why being a racist idiot doesn't affect sympathy? If I am humiliating young people, I'm an adult, right? And I don't go and address my colleagues, I'm going to affect the minds of young people because generally, you say kids and oh, America behind the kids, we love the kids. Charlie Kirk was their John Wayne. How? Just keep it real. We don't want to speak ill of the dead. But this was an uneducated person that was really spreading conservative division. How was he John Wayne? John Wayne, really? Were you alive when John Wayne was alive? Really? It wasn't John Wayne. He was a young man who mastered the spin of political attention. He was uneducated in anything in particular, and I'm not talking bad about him. That was part of his spiel. If you watched him, I am creating division. I'm just giving facts and telling everybody to look at us, myself included. That's not division. What am I supposed to say that is bringing togetherness? We shall overcome. We know how that worked out for us. What are we supposed to do? At some point, somebody has to hold up a mirror to America, and I'm an American. You probably won reparations. I actually have a video on reparation plans and has nothing to do with money. So join the channel, check it out. Just go through and look at my reparations thing. It has nothing to do with money. You probably love it. But think about it. And I think you wanted to say, I probably want reparations. You said I won reparations. I don't know how I could win it, but we're going to leave that alone. Again, get out of your feelings. That's part of the reason why this man got killed. Because people in their feelings. I'm saying, look at our country. I was a 1951 baby John Wayne. Okay, then I have no idea why you would say that he was their John Wayne. I have no idea why he would be their John Wayne. If the Conservative Party has a John Wayne, that is freaking Trump. John Wayne? I'm off. So I don't know why you're sorry. I'm 74. I'm sorry. That makes it worse that you actually know who John Wayne was in the role that he played. If you're going to talk about the central guy of the poster boy of something, the poster boy of conservatism right now is Trump. Trump is going down in history for who he is and how he is and the effect he has had on society as a president. So Trump would be the John Wayne. So I still don't get it. And again, I'm not upset. I want us to really look at us. God bless him and the nut that shot him. Look at how the cognitive dissonance, how people are rationalizing, and the people who are decreasing its importance. Oh, well, he was a bad person, so it should have happened. Oh, he caused it. Look at how people are fixing this situation to make their ideology still come through unscathed. No, this was you, this was me, this was all of us, including them. This is what America is. This is what America is today. This is what America has been in the past. Charlie Kirk's situation was the catalyst they needed to retaliate against their opposition. You can see how spineless Democrats are. Okay, that's an example of cognitive dissonance. The spineless Democrats did this. No, a fool did it. That's what happened. It was a fool that did it. It is just as odd to be anything all the time. How can I be conservative before you ask me the question? How can I be liberal before you ask me the question? There's some things I'm conservative about. There's some things I'm liberal about. Ask me the question, then I give you my answer. But in that particular response, and I'm trying to see what your name is, it's the Democrats' fault. No, we're all playing in a dangerous game called American culture. And it's going to hurt us as it always has. We've had slavery, we had women who could not participate in our government until 1920, so that was over 200 years. We had Native American genocide. We have taken almost 1,000,000 acres of land from Mexico. We have had multiple wars. We have had Jim Crow. We have had convict leasing. We have really, and all of that has been overshadowed by us being an economic miracle. That's what we do. We are an economic miracle, but we have traditionally devalued everything under that, which is why we end up with the Charlie Kirk situation. But unfortunately, when it was Trayvon Martin, when it was Fernando Castile, when it was uh, um, one of the many people in the during that brought about the Black Lives Matter movement, that was a problem. Why is it I did not care when it was all of those unarmed black people getting killed by police, unarmed, and not doing a violent crime? Why is it the majority of white America did not care? But Charlie Kirk, we automatically care. That's not a division thing. That's an analysis. Just look at it. I'm not even telling you what your answer is. I'm saying look at it. Look at the initial response. That black kid that stabbed the white kid down here in Texas. Now, up north where I'm from, we had a white kid that went to the Black Lives Matter thing and shot some people. And they raised this huge amount of money to help him get off, and he does get off. As soon as a white kid threatens a black kid, the black kid warns him, defends himself, kills the kid. It's a completely different narrative spun by the majority population, whites, that this black kid murdered this white kid, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And we act like we don't see it. And even in our comments here, which I appreciate all of your comments, please put them down there. But I'm just showing you this is who we are. So as much as I feel sorry for everyone involved in this situation, anyone with a mental illness to feel that we have to dissent with violence, anyone who feels that we have to preach and perpetuate separatism to our young developing minds, anybody who has lost a family member, anybody who was just trying to do what they thought was best for their community and it turned out bad. I feel sorry for all of these people. But as a scholar, I have to look at the sociological effects of what's going on in our country to understand us. And notice I'm saying us. Me too. But why is there such sympathy selectively? We don't have this sympathy for immigrants. We don't have this sympathy. And again, the immigrants that we're talking about are generally Mexicans. We're not talking about any other people that have overstayed their visas. We're talking about Mexican people coming back to the land that was taken from them. So please like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Um, to the family of Charlie Kirk, I wish them well. Uh, to the person that did this, I hope they get the help they need, because that is not the type of person that we need on the streets. Um, to the people that even buy into and encourage this type of behavior, these separatist, political, poisonous ideologies that are strategically maintained throughout history. The stuff that Charlie Kirk was teaching goes all the way back to the colonies, all the way through um, before the Civil War, during the Civil War, in Reconstruction, through Plessy, through segregation, through civil rights. These are the same systems of division, hate, superiority that he was teaching. He wasn't teaching anything new. What I did respect about him was that he said it. He was disingenuous in his rationale, but at least you knew where he was coming from. But what is, again, the greater thing for us to take away from it is this sensitivity, this heroism suddenly being attached to a violent act that happens to a white man that in no way instigated it, when we don't have that same sensitivity toward other races in our country currently. And those violent policies that are happening to other races that is not getting this type of sensitivity. He was spreading and endorsing. I'm not saying that to say he deserved anything. I'm saying that to say he's so close to that situation, everyone that is trying to analyze it can't go past that without that being part of their analysis. This is not like he had nothing to do with the politics that are hurting immigrants. He has nothing to do with the politics that's hurting poor people. He has nothing to do with the politics hurting black people. He has nothing to do with the politics hurting people with non-traditional lifestyles. No, that was his gig. So if you're going to be sensitive towards somebody who push those ideologies and not sensitive to those other people, you have to ask yourself why. Like, share, and subscribe.